Hello, Dwight Norris of FishingNetwork.com here again to talk a little bit about my vacation that I just finished. If you watched the previous video, you'll see me on a creek, which I can't remember the name of, Chickahominy or something like that. That's probably wrong, but it was just west of Richmond, and it's a small feeder river. It's a river, but it's only a couple of feet deep at most points. There are some points where you'll fall up to your chest, but most points are rapids and rocks. And I was there with family, and we had to do a long half-mile hike through the woods to get there, and through people's property that you normally wouldn't be able to access. But my friend has a neighbor that owns a property, a lot of property actually, and he does some fishing and hunting there, and that's really cool. So on my vacation, I was able to do this and bring my family down, and the rest of my friends and brothers, and we all had just a great time down there and just fishing. And the type of fish that we're catching are things I'm not normally like used to catching. There were smallmouth bass. Didn't catch any of those today. There are chubs that are like just line river. It's a generally a bait fish, and the chub is like a biggest form of a variety of bait fish. I don't know too much about it, but I caught one about this long. It was about, I can over embellish, maybe 9, 10 inches. It was a little south of a pound. It's pretty awesome. It was under a little log, like a foot of water. It's pitch black. Can't see anything, but I'm like, hey, there's gotta be a fish under there. And boom, he just comes out and he hits something called a panther martin, which is I think it's not a spinner bait, but it's a spinner. And this one is in particular is outfitted with more of a fly lure behind it. So there's a spinner, it has some dots on it which look a little bit like a ladybug, and it was a darker, it was like a gray to like bright white kind of mixture going on there. And the most important part about it was that it actually had a regular hook, not sure what size, but pretty small, small enough to catch in pretty much any panfish. And behind that was a small treble hook, which was in circumference the same size as the big hook. So you have your regular, you know, single hook, and then you have a treble hook behind it that's the same size or a little bit smaller. And I actually caught a pumpkin seed, which is a form of panfish, and I hooked it with all three trebles, which is not that fun. But it didn't get away. I caught it. Awesome. And I just took my time and I diligently got it out so I could not harm the fish and get it back in the water safely. And that took a little bit of time, but it swam away and there was no blood, there was no harming the fish, all that other stuff that people sometimes don't really care about. They'll rip it out and like, looks fine to me, and they'll throw them away and it'll splash sideways and disappear. But I think we all know that they didn't make it. But sometimes that's the way of life, and maybe a smallmouth bass came by and ate that pumpkin seed. But I'm getting besides the point. The vacation was really cool. The river was nice. It's something outside the ordinary. It's not like the Charles River, which is huge and there's tons of stuff in there. You need kayaks or a boat to like get around, and it's not connected to the ocean um, directly. It's close. You can get to the ocean in about an hour, but this is further into the mainland, and there's some really cool things out there, along with the wildlife as well. Deers and such going through the woods, and it's really just serene. So if you live in this type of environment, you're a little more inland, but you're on like a feeder river or stream that's, you can walk in it, and there's rocks, and it's safe, and you have some water shoes, and you have some time to get in there, boom, pop on the water shoes, get your small baits, your light tackle gear, or a fly fishing rod. I would say a five. I'd say somewhere between a 1 and 5 weight. Anything over, well, maybe up to 6, but anything over 6 is something you do use on the ocean, really, or a much bigger game, like I don't know, like northern pike or something, or muskie. something with teeth, or this is really heavy. Not, I've actually heard people actually using fly fishing for northern pike and muskie, but I'm sure somebody has tried and succeeded. So remember to get out there and have some fun no matter where you are. You don't, it doesn't have to be just like where I'm fishing. I've told you before, lake, stream, ocean, pond, river, and any other body of water that you can find that has fish in it, even stocked lakes and ponds that are used for water sources are good as well. They have those around here as well, and people don't allow you to use gas motors in those kind of places. So it's usually more pristine and clear, and the fish can see you. It's not like the murky sediment filled areas that seem dirty, but sometimes it's dirty, and sometimes it's just the movement of water and stuff. You don't really know until you get it tested. But oh yeah, on that act, make sure that the body of water that you're actually fishing on has actual clean water in it, and it's been tested, and you know you can take a fish home and eat it without getting sick. Because sometimes you might find out that the past, like in Boston, places that seem clean were used as dumping grounds, or maybe there's a cyanobacteria or some other kind of algae bloom like down in Florida that is pretty much sucking oxygen out of everything and it's killing everything. Even large mammals that like dolphins and just had a mind went blank. The large hippo shaped thing in Florida that has a tail. Can't remember the name of it right now, but you know what I'm talking about. So let's just end all this and say I'll see you tomorrow when I try to go fishing. Once again, at work.